Greetings and welcome to another Sega News Bits. I'm Barry. With me is George.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to be talking about 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. It's a new localized SEGA of Japan dungeon crawling RPG that's coming our way, at least in the Americas, physically. So this just is another game in the long string of physical releases that SEGA of America has been announcing over a short span of time. And this is not a coincidence. In fact, George, you know, like those other games that have been coming out, we had the 3D Classics Collection. We've had, Yakuza 0, even though that's, 2017, we think. But, yeah, this isn't a coincidence. What are your... Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, the first one came out on the DS, and I always wanted to play it. I always thought it had a unique style. Yuzo Koshiro was doing the music. I'm pretty sure he's doing it on this one too. And it always looked a little interesting. I always wanted to play it, so it's good that the third one's coming out here. I think it's a good move by Sega. I think this is showing them that they are taking advice from Atlas, and they're really looking at how they release games, and they're emulating it. You know, doing ports, even of like really small titles, they could pay off if you market them right.
Yeah, and this franchise too, like you mentioned, it started on the DS. It kind of jumped around a little bit. There's been 4 titles, 1 spin-off. There's been games on the DS and the PSP. Now, I mean, this is my own. I know that they're pushing a lot more localizations at least in the Americas. I don't know what's going on in Sega Europe, but thank God for the USA and that we live in it.
Yeah.
But where was I going with this? Oh, well, man, where was I going with this? You can edit this.
I never knew that, like, I would be saying that I'm proud to be SEGA of America has been kind of weird lately, so this is kind of like their little turnaround on localizations, because we've been kind of dry in the last 4 years, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. And what I was getting at too was that the PSP and even the Vita were never really console handhelds that really took off. And so when SEGA of America kind of stopped localizing games for those, it was a disappointment, but I also kind of understood where they were coming from. But with this, it's the 3DS. You know, the 3DS selling reasonably well. People buy it. It's really the only major handheld out there right now. And so the fact that this game is on the 3DS, it's not like a DS title, even though they should have brought that over. But yeah. In any case, it's great that 7th Dragon has finally made it west.
There's actually a 7th Dragon DS fan translation that you could download, I guess, if you have like an R4, and you could load it up if you really want to play it.
Yeah. And Sega actually teased this the day before. They posted a picture of actually in another Sega News Bits, we talked about how the Atlas headquarters has become the Sega and Atlas headquarters, and it's all but been confirmed. But it was funny to see them posting a picture of the Atlas building, and they said, "Hey, it's Sega HQ. It's a very fine day," and of course they were hinting at the code VFD, which I don't think it stands for Very Fine Day, but definitely, I'd love it if it was code Very Fine Day.
What do you think about the title? I mean, they're going to call it 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. You think they should have just dropped the 3 and just called it Code VFD?
I think they should have. I think that would have been a better move, because especially with RPGs, when people see the numbers, they think, I don't know if I should get into that. I know that when Sakura Wars released over here, I'm pretty sure they dropped the numbers. They did say that this is a standalone release, but they're really going to have to push that moving forward. Otherwise, people are going to see this and they might be hesitant to get in because it's the 3rd game. Then again, it is really annoying as an RPG fan to have companies switch numbers around, drop numbers. I'm sure Final Fantasy fans in the US have headaches over all that. But let's just go through, I guess, the bullet points that they called out, the selling points for the game. They said it's a bleak world and an engaging story.
Okay,
cool. There's unique settings and time periods. So, I'm not going to get too into the plot of the game, but because honestly, I don't really know it. It's a new series for us. But they talk about there's a futuristic capital in the land of Eden and a present-day Tokyo. and then there's dragons. So there's a lot of, I guess, kind of elements from different time periods. So that's kind of cool. I like the present day Tokyo kind of idea. And they say there's a deep party system and character customization options, which is one thing they're really pushing on the official site. The character customization, it's not Phantasy Star Online levels, but it's still pretty cool. You can pick voices and hairstyles, things like that. Some of these things. Base building with Nodens Enterprises HQ. I guess you're going to have to know about the game to know what that sort of selling point is. And of course, lots of dragons. That's a bullet point.
I like how they were running out of bullet points while they were going, like they were adding them. And they're like, we need one more.
Yeah.
Lots of dragons in the end.
I mean, if you can't tell from the way I'm describing this, it sounds like a very niche game. It sounds like a game that has a lot of, it's something that's kind of hard to pin down when you look at it. You know what I mean?
It sounds like a game that we never thought SEGA of America would be localizing anymore.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of excited to be so confused, if that makes any sense, to see something where I'm like, this is a strange game. I'm kind of intrigued by it. I don't know how well it'll sell. It has been mentioned that this might be the last game in the series. At least that's what they were saying when it was releasing in Japan, which is kind of a strange thing to say and then localize it. You had a little information on the development team behind the originals.
Yeah, I don't even know how you say the original development team. Imiji Pooch or something like that? Imiji Pooch?
Maybe.
I don't know. They went out of business. They went bankrupt. Their last game was Stella Glow, which came out in America this fall. Atlas published it in the U.S. Sega published it in Japan. Well, they're out of business, so Sega's this game is actually in-house developed at Sega, which, for all the info I've seen. So, I mean, this is kind of, an in-house Sega RPG. That doesn't happen very often, right? JRPG.
No. Do you think it's possible they took on some of the team members?
I'm sure they did. I mean, you get them cheap. I wouldn't be surprised. Anything? I mean, I can't really think of any. Oh, there was a demo in Japan, so there's most likely going to be a demo before it comes out. So everybody should probably, when they announce it, I guess.
Yeah.
It comes out this summer, right?
Yeah. I also wanted to point out too, and this was mentioned, I believe, on our forums. A few things actually. First off, that this wave of localizations. This isn't something that is, it's not just like, oh yeah, they just happen to be releasing them all right now. This is the new direction that Sega's taking. They have a new president, Haruki Satomi, and it was mentioned on our forums by our writer Akiat that when he was the digital VP, he pushed for games like Guardian Heroes and Afterburner Climax. So this is a guy who I feel like he knows good games when he sees them, and he's like, let's get those out there and release them to people. Let's put good content, new content out there. So it's exciting.
I think he also knows that these games won't sell 1 million copies, and he understands that you're gonna localize it. It's Atlas. They bring in some of the most smallest, weirdest games, and they still bring out 20 of them a year. I don't even know how they do it, how they make a profit, but they're profitable. So
yeah,
if they get to follow those footsteps.
Yeah, and this is something that's rubbing off on SEGA of America. This is the result of the Atlas acquisition. This is the result of SEGA of America moving into their offices, and I mean it's nowhere more clear than both on our end when we're dealing with Sega, people who we're dealing with who do the Atlas games, we're also dealing with on the Sega games. But they clearly tell us this is a Sega game. Do not pay attention to my email. And I don't think I'm revealing too much because it's they work for both in some instances. The other thing is that Sega is really aggressively putting new websites out there for every new game. If you notice in their marketing, there's a landing page for this. So there's information, trailers, media, things to download. And what's been pointed out as well on our forums, plug, is that the layouts to the websites match the Atlas game websites. So it's clearly the same design team, the same web team covering both of these. And I think it's exciting. I'm looking forward to this. I'll be honest, SEGA of America releasing localized games, if that's the main thing that they're going to be doing, fine by me.
Hey, that's all we want. Let us know what you guys think about Seventh Dragon 3 code VCD.
VFD. Enough
VFD.
letters and numbers in there. Huh?
I knew I screwed it up. Tell me about how I screwed up in the comments below. Well, catch you guys later.
If you liked our video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check us out on SEGAbits.com and click all these little videos right here.
Click this one right here.